Welcome back, my little curios, to It's a Super Scary Saturday Sleepover. So, grab your blankets, turn the lights down low, and before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss our little creepy gatherings. So tonight's American Tale is from a little state called South Carolina, and it is called Scared to Death.
Mhm.
Yeah. And let me ask you guys something. Have you ever been so scared that your mind convinced you something was happening before you actually knew what was really happening? Because tonight, one young woman takes a dare, walks alone into a cemetery, and discovers that sometimes the scariest thing waiting for you in the dark might be your own mind.
Mm.
All right, y'all, let's go to the cemetery. We're going to put Oreo Jr. back here and we're going to get started. Some 10 years after the Civil War, the old Charleston mansion named Rosewood was ablaze with lights and bursting with music. An orchestra hired by Stephen Haywood played waltz after waltz in a huge ballroom in honor of his daughter Sally's 18th birthday. Okay, girl, you adult now, girl. What's next? Sally, however, had grown bored with the whole affair and had steered a cluster of handsome young men and beautiful young women to the open area at the foot of the magnificent staircase. There she stood, rearranging her pale yellow skirts that rose, ruffle upon ruffle, to her waist. Her bare arms were adorned with a single fall of jet black hair which tumbled over her left shoulder. A perfect red rose was pinned to her bodice, setting off the whiteness of her skin. Okay, girl. Even if she hadn't been mistress of Roseway since her mother's untimely unaliving, or hadn't flirted so outrageously, Sally would have easily drawn the attention of the young men now gathered around her because of her beauty. Her dark eyes, ivory skin, and bubbling laughter charmed men of all ages. Okay, girl, yes, get it, sis. At the moment, however, she was quiet. She was looking unabashedly at tall, dark Peter Buford. Okay, hey, Peter, how you doing, Peter? While listening intently to what Alice Carl Cardos, his fiance, was saying. Breathlessly, Alice informed the little cluster of friends. When our carriage passed the graveyard tonight. Oh wait, let me give her the proper accent. I'm sorry, y'all. hmm When our carriage passed the graveyard tonight, both horses reared up. I declare, I was so frightened, I almost lost my wits. I'm sure nothing serious was at risk, said Sally with a wicked little smile. Gallantly, Peter said, it's certainly spooky there. I've heard the place is haunted. Yeah, girl, it's haunted. Yes, said Sally, sounding even more bored than before. We've all heard those stories. But have you seen a ghost, Peter? Don't you believe in ghosts? Asked Alice in a voice barely above a whisper. Oh, let me redo that. Don't you believe in ghosts? I'm Alice. Mhm. Not at all, sneered Sally. Only simpletons hold with such foolishness. Okay, well. My manservant saw a ghost standing by old Daniel Payson's tombstone, said Peter. That's the tallest grave marker, the one that tilts to one side. The ghost was the image of Daniel Payson, who's been unalive for 4 years. Well, sir, you were just standing there looking at ghosts like, oh, I know you. Do I know? Let me see your ID card. Like, sir, why are you just standing there watching ghosts? Y'all stay out the cemetery if it's haunted. That's my analysis of that. Mm-hmm. Bosh, said Sally with the airy wave of her hand. Your man dreamed it or was frightened by a shadow. You never catch me going into the cemetery after dark, said Alice, holding tightly to Peter's arms. Smart woman. Why? Whatever on earth is there to be afraid of? Really? Wondered Sally, ignoring Alice to stare into Peter's face. Peter, who seemed equally uncomfortable at Alice's clinging and Sally's boasting, said, Come now, Sally. You wouldn't go in there after dark, and you know it. Nonsense, Sally retorted angrily. I am not as foolish as some people I know. She looked pointedly at Alice. Okay, Shade. Alice, aware that Sally was making fun of her, cried, If you're so brave, I dare you to go into the graveyard alone. Tonight. Right now. Oh, very well, said Sally offhandedly. Peter, will you escort me? She stretched her hand out to take his. But the young man put his arm around Alice because she is his fiance, ma'am. Stop trying to be a homebreaker, Sally, ma'am. And said, I've never been a man to tempt fate, Miss Haywood. Nor would any of the other young gentlemen surrounding her risk the unknown terrors of the churchyard, even for a chance to escort the lovely Sally. So everybody's smart enough to stay out the graveyard because they keep seeing her ghosts. That's what we saying here. Okay.
Sounds like it.
Okay. Then I'll go out alone, snapped Sally pettishly. The unalive couldn't be any more dreary company than the rest of you. She sent one of her servants to the cloakroom to fetch her wrap. Wait, said Alice. She ran after the servant and returned with Peter's walking cane, which had a gold handle shaped like a goblin's head. While Sally was putting on her wrap, Sally thrust the cane at her, saying, Take this and plant it in the ground by old man Payson's crooked tombstone. That way we'll know in the morning that you really went there. Since my word isn't good enough for you, Miss Carter Ross, Sally said nastily, you'll find the cane in the morning when the sunlight gives you enough courage to look for it. Then gathering her long cloak around her, oh wait, I'm about to. Sally Hayward swept out through the front door and into the night. See, she marched along the moonlit sidewalk to the cemetery, slashing at the air in front of her with the gold-tipped cane, furious at the memory of how Peter Buford rightfully defended his fiancée, Alice Carteros, against Sally's best effort to belittle the other woman. Ma'am, you petty. And you a homewrecker. And she grew even angrier at the thought that he remained unmoved by Sally's charms, in spite of the fact that she flirted with him throughout the whole evening. Yeah, that's homewrecker behavior. Sally pushed open the high iron gate in the churchyard wall and stepped through it. Inside was complete darkness, except for an occasional tall grave marker gleaming palely in the moonlight. Dimly, the young woman could see the outline of the church steeple on the far side of the cemetery. Though she couldn't make out the face of the clock in the tower, she clearly heard it chiming midnight. Up until this moment, Sally had been angry and not in the least afraid. But the thick, chill darkness pressed closely in on her. Girl, you better be afraid. I wouldn't be anywhere at midnight, but especially a graveyard. Would y'all be there? Scott, would you go to a graveyard at midnight?
No.
Yeah, no. Anyway. I forgot my place. Sorry, y'all. creating shadows that seemed to clench at her when she didn't look directly at them. Deciding, with the last burst of resentment, that this was the wretched end to an already spoiled evening, she wrapped her cloak around her more tightly and searched hastily for the crooked tombstone. A part of her was ready to cut and run, but Sally was strong willed enough to force herself to make good on her boast. She would plant the cane before she left or unalive in the attempt. Girl, I wouldn't say that. Keeping this thought in mind, she searched up and down the narrow rows of tombstones until she discovered the crooked marker shining faintly in the moonlight. She raised the cane to thrust it into the damp soil below the marble slab, then froze. A sigh, then a loud moan came from the blackness just beyond the tombstone. A sudden gust of wind, chill and smell of damp and mold, pushed past her. She was certain that she could hear something coming towards her. Something that moved stiffly and wetly and never drew a mortal breath. Stifling a scream, she thrust Peter's cane into the ground. Then, gathering up her cloak, she turned to run. Something caught her. Oh, girl. Something held her and wouldn't let her run. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. Oh. She heard a moan and smelled the breath of the open grave. Girl, what do the breath of an open grave smell like?
Probably not good.
No. It ain't brushed its teeth in a while, so I know it's not good. But the more frantically she struggled, the more firmly the horror held her in its grips. Oh, girl, get some scissors, girl, do something. Take off the cloak. I would have took off the cloak, but that's just me. I would have just let it go. I would have been like, oh, girl, you can have this. I gotta go. Yeah. But not Sally. Not Sally. Too frightened to scream, she clawed frantically towards the narrow aisles of tombstones that led back to the gate. But something was tugging at her throat now. Oh, girl. In a final spasm of terror, she flung herself forward, only to feel herself dragged back towards the crooked tombstone. At that moment, something burst into her head, and she sank in the ground, mercifully unconscious. What y'all think happened to my girl? Oh, Lord. Well, don't worry, because we got the ending. Oh. When Sally failed to return, Peter and Alice led a party of anxious friends and relatives to the churchyard. Y'all shouldn't have never sent her, but here we go. They found Sally a short distance from the crooked tombstone, unalived, her eyes wide with fear. The end of her cloak was pinned solidly to the ground at the foot of the marble slab, held in place by the deeply planted cane with the goblin's head. The unfortunate young woman had scared herself to death. To this day, people talk of two ghosts that haunt the old churchyard. One is the tall, shadowy figure of a man. The other is a woman in a pale yellow dress with a long cloak who wears a single rose in her bodice. That's the end. Okay. And that was scared to death, y'all. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Our young lady accepted a dare, she willingly walked into the cemetery, proved that she had been there by sticking the cane into the ground. And when she tried to leave, something grabbed her dress. Or at least that's what she thought happened. Because nobody reached out of the grave. There was no ghost. There was no monster. This was not a thriller video, honey. She had accidentally pinned her own dress to the ground. And her fear filled in the rest of the story for her. And that brings me to what I took away from this one. Don't let fear be the rule of you. Fear can warn you. Fear can protect you, but don't let fear turn an assumption into reality before you check out what's happening. Sometimes we need to look around and ask, wait a minute, what do I actually know right now about this, that this is based in facts? Because sometimes the monster is real, and sometimes, baby, you just pinned your own dress down. So, you guys out there and Scott, tell me what you took away from Scared to Death. Scott, you guys put it in the comment section. Scott, what you got?
Yeah, I would say really just it's never a good idea to get involved with dares and accepting dares. They're just not nothing to prove, and it's usually just going to end up bad in some way. So
Dares are never built in logic, honey. You ain't gaining nothing, baby. I agree. Did you have anything else?
that's what I got.
Okay. Well, you guys, once again, put what you think or what you took away from this story. And if you enjoyed, tonight's super scary Saturday sleepover. And with that, guys, I want to bid you guys adieu. Let me grab Oreo Jr. So, guys, from wherever we are, sorry, let me recap that. So, guys, as always, we enjoy spending some time with you guys, and hopefully, you guys enjoy spending some time with us. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, check out some other videos, live shorts, and all that fun stuff, because this is a channel. It's like a book club, but it's mostly for us where we kind of just hang out and explore different concepts within stories. Um, so with that, guys, I'm gonna bid you guys adieu. So from wherever we are, even when we in the middle of a graveyard panicking because of something we did, to wherever you guys are, peace and love and happiness, and we'll see you guys later. But that means 30 or so minutes, because we're gonna continue on with this another graveyard. But anyway, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.